Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode, Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you in part by McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia. They're out of Mobile, Alabama, and they are a family-owned and operated muffler shop with converter shocks and much more. Give those guys a call at 251-661-1043. That is McDonald Muffler in Mobile, Alabama, a.k.a. the Muffler Mafia. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other Short Track guys in the studio, as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 CanQuitFishing.com Sportsman and 2021 Sportsman Champion, and Ted Baber, Ted Baber Video Productions. What's up, guys?
How we doing?
What's up? Good evening.
Yeah, we're going to recap a pretty big weekend and follow up on finishing a big weekend. It was previous that we got to last week, but why don't we start what happened local that big spectacular Friday night?
Well, we had a pretty good night. I'm tickled. The card, we've been having some issues and haven't been able to find what the problem is, and I found a bent lower trailing arm bolt, fixed that, and changed the shock and went out Friday night, qualified third. Pretty quick. I'm really happy with that. And then they rolled the dice, which was a 3, which put me on the pole. And I led 5 laps. It was nice seeing the back of the pace car up close again and actually seeing some clean air. But we had a problem with the fuel system. The car was nosing over at the end of the straightaway. And Chad Robinson got me, and I fell back to second for a few laps. And I eventually faded to 7th. And I was faster than the 3 cars in front of me, just couldn't get back to them. And then we had a caution. We had a car get wrecked. So we're under caution, and we have what's called the choose rule. Same thing, kind of NASCAR concept. You have a cone in the middle of the racetrack. You can choose starting on the bottom or starting on the top. Well, if 10 cars go to the bottom and 1 car goes to the top, well, then he moves all the way up. Well, a couple of people there didn't understand it. They all went to the bottom, and I drove all the way back up to 4th place and finished 5th. I battled for 4th there late in the race with the 8 car, but I was having some handling issues. But all in all, a good night. It was fun. We finished in the top 5. We led some laps, and we had a car, I think, now capable of running with those guys. We just got a few little tweaks here and there, and we'll get there. Thank you to All Pools and Ted Baber and Zach Morris for spotting for us. CanQuitFishing.com, Emerald Coast Remodeling and Trim, and Bowman Marine Construction, and Pensacola Glass for the windshield. I appreciate them, too. And thanks to Ben Cranford for letting me work out of his shop. We had fun, and we're going to get it back and get it faster and work on it, make it even quicker for the next one.
Yeah, they had a pretty good or a pretty decent car count. Well, all through every one of the classes, but especially those sportsmen.
Yeah. For we've been missing car count lately, and it's good to see it. And even though one car got sold, is no longer with us, and another car didn't show up, but we were missing Brandon Fowler.
Yeah,
but his son had his 8th grade prom, and I understand that. You know, you gotta do stuff with your kids, and that's important.
Oh yeah.
So it was good to have Charles Davis racing with us. He's an old buddy of mine from Montgomery, and he bought Kevin Mitchell's car, and he's going to race with his son. So it'd be good to see him down here. And like I said, it was a good night. We had fun. Good fast field of cars, and to qualify third in that field is pretty sporty. So I'm tickled.
Yeah, you're sitting 6th in points, I believe now, 28 points, and you got some time left to kind of creep up, if not maybe a podium, but maybe even better than that.
Well, if we get back to the top 5, I'd be happy with that. I mean, it's not the best year I've had. The last 2 years have been really rough on us because we had to build a new car, and we're still learning it, but we're going to get there. And like I said, man, it was fun. And also got to thank John Ruth for his shocks. He built the shocks on the car, and that really helps me out a lot. And without people like him and Ted and Martin and my crew, Devin, who's a new member of our crew, and you were out there, so it was cool having you back at the racetrack with us. So that was a treat, and we're having fun, man. That's what it's about. We're gonna have a good time.
Being out front's a lot more fun than being anywhere else.
That's true, and we may go to June the 3rd, which is the week after the Five Flags race. There may be a chance. We got a race coming up on the 28th or 29th. I think it's 29th. And then the next one may be op. I'm not sure yet. Depends on the money situation. But it'd be good to get up there to op and race again. I had fun last time I went up there, so we'll see.
Yeah. Got to figure that fuel problem out, though.
I got it figured out. I figured it out. I know exactly what it's doing, and I worked on it last night, as a matter of fact, and changed out the problem, and hopefully we'll get her squared away. I something I did. It was my stupidity, so I'll take the blame.
Yeah, well, we got Chad Robinson, Jonathan Langham, Maddox Langham, BJ Latham, and Jim Pokrant round out the top 5 in that spectacular 35-lap 1,000 win would actually been $150 for fast lap bonus, and then I think it was another $250 on top. So it could have been a bigger night, but $1,250 to win for a 35-lap sportsman feature. It's pretty sporty.
Yeah, Chad did pretty good. He fastest qualifier and got the money, so he went home with about $1,400. So that's a pretty good deal for him.
Yeah, and the rest of the classes, the Pro Trucks and Outlaws out there with the Pure Stocks, and then we had the Crown Vics. And let's talk about the Outlaws real quick with Timothy Watson. He's been on fire here lately.
That guy's got it figured out.
Well, that's not the same car that he dominated with before. That's a different car from what I understand. He put the spank down on him, son. You couldn't touch him.
Yeah, he did. He got out front and he just said, bye. Everybody was chasing him. He's really dominating the class, and good for him.
Well, he's good in a super and a pro car too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a heck of a wheelman. He's going to be somebody that some of these teams are going to start contending with. Because he bought one of the 51 cars, and I know that car's fast. So, and he's proved it. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does in the late model when he finally moves all the way up. But good for him. Congratulations to him. And Robert Barber won the pure stock race, and that was good to see him finally win one. He had some issues. And he's pretty dang fast.
He got a little broke up about it too. He was he was happy to see that finally happen.
Yeah, I would have never done a burnout like that, but man, he just melted the tires. But that's all right. He did a great job, and he deserves what he going to do when he gets into victory lane. And the trucks was Stephen Davis.
Yeah, that was nice.
It's good to see him back in victory lane. I mean, now the Thompson kid was coming.
Yeah, he was.
He was coming. There'd been 5 more laps in that race. I believe Stephen would have run second.
Right.
Grant Thompson's a hell of a wheelman in that truck series. That number 54, he was coming, but it was good to see Stephen Davis get a win. I ain't seen him, and it was cool to see his dad Mark was there, and I ain't seen Mark in a long time. Mark and Stephen used to help me on my cars years ago, and if I had a question, I could always go to them, and they would always give me a straight answer. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, I agree with you. If he had probably 4 or 5 laps, I think that 54 would have got him because he was started 6th. And just kind of methodically, like he always does, moved his way to the front. And I know Steven knew he was coming, but just ran out of time.
It would have been an interesting finish had he caught him, but hey, that's all right. Like I said, I was glad to see Steven get that one, and congratulations to Grant for running second and doing such a fine job. That young man's got a lot of talent.
Yeah. What about the Crown Stocks now that went out there? That class has taken over and had a pretty good 16 cars out there.
Yeah, it was fun to watch that one because they were beating and banging and getting with it.
Well, you know what was neat is pitted next to me was a guy. It was his first time.
Yeah.
Didn't even have the roll cage painted. He was in a Mercury Grand Marquis. Didn't have the exhaust cut off of it. You couldn't even hear it running. We were standing there talking to him. I leaned up against the car and I realized it was running. I'm like, dang. And he got out of the thing with the biggest smile. I said, "Jeff, fun?" He goes, "Man, I ain't never had that much fun." I was like, "Well, good. You remember this and enjoy it because it gets worse from here." And he started laughing.
Yeah, Zachary Dickerson, his first time out there in that Crown Vic, and I'm sure he had a blast, and he's hooked for sure.
Yep, no doubt about that.
I'm telling you, it's a drug. Once it gets in your veins, it doesn't ever come out.
It's worse than crack.
They don't make a pill to fix that problem, I promise you, because I've been addicted to it for 30-something, longer than that, since I was 9 years old. So
yeah, that 17 car out front, just I don't know that anybody had anything for him.
I don't think so.
That's Ryan Blight. And, there's a rumor going around some people are flashing their computers at Triple X Motorsports, and Tech needs to get on the ball if that's the case, because they're supposed to be stock. No gerrymandering with nothing. So,
No,
but I like Ted's idea. Just take all the computers and put them in a box, and you come up and you just reach in a box and grab you one, and that's the one you got to run that night.
Exactly.
Or don't run them at all.
We got to run
Or
a
do you
computer.
have to run them?
You have to run a computer because the engines are all computer controlled. I mean, they're still stock. But, I mean, they're doing stuff like the eliminating all that. What it does is eliminates your rev limiters. It gains you like another 20 horsepower from what I've heard, 10 to 20, which is a lot.
Whole bunch
If you're all
in
the
that class,
same.
yeah.
So it's time to fix that. If somebody's doing it, you got to toss them, and there's a ways of doing it, and you just got to get a Ford technician out there who knows what he's looking at, put a scan tool on the car, and if it's illegal, fix it. Because when you start letting a few of them get out of hand, you're going to lose all the guys running in the back because they're going to realize they're not going to win, and they're done. You can't have anybody cheating. Now, that class should be bone stock, and it's not for money. And I realize that the Astoria and Blake Roofing owns a bunch of those cars, and they're the sponsor of the division. But it doesn't mean anybody can get away with cheating. And I'm not accusing anybody. I don't know. But I've heard from several people that cars were at Triple X Motorsports, which if that's the case, then they're reflashing their proms in the computers, and it's illegal.
It's going to kill the class like everybody. It's that rules creep, or that little bit of, I found a gray area, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Well, that's why we have tech men. I mean, you know what aggravated me is our race, they pretty much weighed them and paid them.
Right.
Check carburetors. Like anybody's going to cheat on the throat of a carburetor. That's just the dumbest thing in the world. I'm going to hog it out, and I'm going to get caught. I'm going to gain that 10th. But, I mean, you know, I'm just happy with the way our car ran because I proved I can beat them up off the corner. And if I could get that thing to get in and through the center a little bit better, shame on them. Yeah. They'll never get to me. I could have led every lap of that race.
Well, you'll see them next, June the 2nd, with the Outlaws, Sportsman, Pure Stock, and Crown Stocks. I just shortly I want to bring this up because I was looking at the schedule for Five Flag Speedway, and we've had this debate before in the studio and then outside of the studio, possibly at the racetrack. Sportsman. Is it sportsmen or sportsman? Because they've got sportsman and sportsman in the schedule both ways.
I don't know. I think men, I think I like it better. It looks
tomato,
better.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah, who cares as long as we're racing, right?
Yeah,
right.
I know. I just thought I'd bring it up because to me, sportsmen is a group of a division, but sportsman is a division of drivers. So that's just a difference. I don't know. I'd bring that up, see if it might be one of the trivia questions or the best answer comes up. And I think we're trying to arrange for some tickets to be given away here. Not too sure. We're going to finalize some deals here and get some skibbies on what we can do to get some tickets out there to have some newcomers, I guess, go to the racetrack and enjoy a family night out. But that is to come. We will let you know as soon as we get the details out on that one. But June 2nd is the next event out there for the Outlaw, Sportsman, Pure Stock, and Crown Stocks. And we finished up, but we touched on the North Wilkesboro Speedway, the Cars Tour Pro Late Model Race, which we had the winner as we were recording, Augie Grill. And we had the Supers, the ASA Stars Tour, and then the Cars Tour was there that night. Was it that night or the night after? Because
same night. They were the same night because the ASA All Stars race rained out.
Right, and we didn't get to those results, but I think Ted got a rundown on that, the big one that we were waiting on.
And as if we didn't know who might have taken the win.
Oh, come on, fellas. You ought to know who the big dog in the ASA All Stars is.
Of course, finishes up in front of a stellar group of other drivers. Let's just run the list and see what it looks like here. Coming in second, but coming on at the tail end of the race, and he only finished second by 3/10, so that's not a whole lot of space. That's not a lot of breathing room. It's William Byron, and then Chase Elliott. I mean, we've got a group here. Sammy Smith, Daniel Suarez finished 5th, Caden Quapple, Casey Roderick, Cole Butcher. Casey's the points leader in that series, I believe, at the moment. And Cole Butcher 8th, Derek Thorne coming in 9th. The Timinator finished 10th. Don't know if he had some problems or not, but that's a little bit unusual for him. And then Matt Craig. I think the Minnesota Missile, I think he lost a booster or something. He finished 12th in that race.
He missed it.
Yeah, he missed his missile, missed his ride. Jet Nolan 13th, Austin Nason coming in 14th. And we got the best hair in the entire area, Michael Hind in the flaming number 69, Jeremy Doss 16th. Stephen Nassy, 17th. Carson Hosevar, 18th. Jake Finch came in 19th. Rounded down the top 20 was Blaine Roca. And it was Hudson Halder, Albert Francis, Grant Enfinger. That's a little unusual for him, I would have to say. Then John Boland, Derek Griffith, Anthony Sergi, Billy Van Meter, Justin Kreider, Gio Ruggiero, Noah Gregson. Really unusual for him. They had some problems. Connor Jones and Derek Krause finished out the field. There were 16 cars on the lead lap at the end of the race too, so that's a
Pretty
great field.
good, pretty good. But I mean, this just the names in that field right there, the people that were in that race, and basically our hometown boy, because he considers Five Flag Speedway his home racetrack, Bubba Pollard, spanked them.
Yeah, you got 3 Cup drivers and a truck driver there in the top 5 with him.
Mm-hmm. And Augie Grill won the pro race.
Right.
Another basically local driver for us.
Yes.
And we're all Augie fans.
Yep.
So how cool is that on a national stage? Basically, Augie Grill and Bubba Pollard put the whoop on the Cup boys. Let me tell you something. That's to me, that's awesome. I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, the Copper Steel Trophy comes home to the South, so to speak.
Georgia.
And Alabama. So, yeah, what a cool trophy that is, too. I like those.
That's neat. That is definitely neat.
Yeah, and then just after that, we had the Cars Tour, late model stocks. And there were some Cup drivers in that one, too. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski, just to mention a couple. I think Daniel Suarez and Dale Earnhardt Jr. was in that race as well.
Ross Chastain was in that race.
Ross Chastain, yeah. We've got Brendan Queen, the 3-car. If you can grab a hold of the digits on the door of that car, then more power to you. But Brendan Queen, Ryan Millington, Jared Fryer, Connor Hall, and Caden Honeycutt round out the top 5. We talked about Chad McCumbee being a movie star somewhat, coming in the top 10 at 7th. Kevin didn't do so well. Mr. Harvick was 11th. Brad Keselowski is 12th. Daniel Suarez 15th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Probably struggled a little bit in that sun drop number 3. Finished 16th, but they had quite a bit of action early on. I think in the first few laps they had a big accident down in turn 1 or right down the front stretch, and
killed a lot of them.
Yeah, Junior said he mangled up the front end and killed his aero, and he said it made the car push, and he said he was having to burn up the rear tires to get through the corner, and he said it eventually just all the tires went away. But hey, that Caden Honeycutt kid, he's somebody that we need to keep watching, because I'm going to tell you something, that kid's starting to gain momentum. He's doing really well at what he does. Whether he runs dirt, he runs asphalt, whether he runs a truck, whether he runs a car, the kid's got talent, and he's doing pretty well. I mean, he's somebody that I think's under the radar, but they're keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, the next stop of that is the Tri-County Speedway, the car's late model tour, May 27th. This is coming Saturday, actually.
I think Kenny Wallace is going to be in that race. I think he's driving a Junior Motorsports car. They invited old Herminator to come run, so that would be pretty good to see. And he's also, I think Kenny's going to run an SRX race this year also.
Yeah, I believe so.
That'd be fun just to go just to meet him,
just to hear him talk. It'd be just worth the price of admission. I listened to some of his podcast stuff. He is hilarious.
He's a nut bar, no doubt.
Yep. I don't agree with him everything he says, but I just like listening to him. He's funny.
Yeah, there were several other big races, and there are going to be a few that we're not really going to get to. This next one, we're going to go north of North Carolina up to Lee, New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Governor's Cup 150, which we've had several names that were in this race that we have mentioned quite a bit. This was on Sunday with Brandon Barker, Gabe Brown, Jason Corliss, DJ Shaw, and Joey Polwartzik from Hudson, New Hampshire, in the Governor's Cup 150. And those guys, they always put on a good show. And there were 24 of those that went around and round. And, it just keeps getting better and better every week. We go from one end of the country, north and south, and we east and west. The next one, we're going to take a left-hand turn across the states and go to Oregon. And, yeah.
That's a long commute.
It is.
It's a little bit of a drive.
Yeah, this is,
coast to coast. I mean, come on.
I know it. From New Hampshire to Oregon.
Yeah, this was Casey Klein he's a Colwickie driver development program guy, and Hayden Plybon. Man, those two with the Liberty Launch Academy 125 at Findlay Stadium, State Line Speedway. They battled it out for the last couple of laps, and if you haven't seen the replays on that, the last 2 or 3 laps going, they need to watch that. That was the whole entire race, really. Until they got settled out and they came down and get the checker flag, those guys... they about turned each other sideways coming to the stripe. So check that out and look for those the Northwest Super Late Model Series. And I think their next race is in Oregon. This one was in Idaho. So my apologies, but it was a good race nonetheless.
Sounds like it. Good show over there. A lot of young talent coming from that direction.
Yep. And speaking of, I believe the hauler parking, the new ASA race, the Stars Tour at Hickory, they're parking haulers until 7 o'clock tonight. And that race at 250, Tar Heel 250 is tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And you got some of those same names,
Exactly.
William Byron, Chase Elliott, a lot of those guys, because everything is happening in Charlotte this weekend. A lot of those guys are going to be at Hickory for the ASA race tomorrow night. So Ty Majeski, Bubba Pollard, and Stephen Nassy, those guys.
Well, that Stars race, well, it's for the national title. I mean, like I said, Bubba finished second at Madison. He won in North Wilkesboro, was leading Pensacola when he got wrecked. Can you imagine how big of a points lead he have right now?
Yeah, right.
I mean, dang, what could be. Still can happen, but he's going to have some help.
Yeah, he's going to have help, and hopefully he can pull that one off, and that would be awesome, going back to back with the Stars Tour. He's got some company. There's a list of names that we've already gone over, but here's some more.
Well, you got Michael Bilderback, Tony Elrod starts the list off. We've already William Sawalich, we've talked about, Jackson Boone, Chase Elliott, Derek Krause, Carson Hosevar, Austin Nason, Casey Roderick, Jesse Love, Gio Ruggiero, Billy Van Meter, William Byron. I mean, come on. Obviously, Bubba. Cole Butcher, Caden Quapple, Dustin Smith, the local boy from Mobile, Cody Connor, Dakota Stroop, Jet Nolan, and Jake Finch. We can't forget about him. I mean, he's always a contender everywhere he goes. Stephen Nassy, same thing. Matthew Craig, same thing. Tyler Tanner, hello. Michael Hind, Ross, boy, this is a good one. Stremska, I hope. And then the Timinator, Ty Majeski, and Blaine Roca rounds out that impressive field.
Yeah. The Tar Heel 250 at Hickory Motor Speedway tomorrow night. Man, we will certainly touch on that Wednesday night next week. And hopefully we are watching Bubba raise another trophy. And it won't be a still this time, but I look forward to looking at that trophy they're going to be giving away next week.
Go Bubba Pollard.
Just tackle at least try to close the lead up a little bit between him and.
Well, he's finishing ahead of Roderick as much as he has. He'll close it pretty quick, but I mean, we got Blizzard Series races coming up in July at Five Flags, and Bubba usually puts the Spanky down at our tracks, so it's going to be a good deal, man. I think it's a cool situation. The whole Stars thing is cool, and the racing has been really good.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, so I kind of like it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's a ton that have been going on the last week, and we're getting into the middle of all this seasonal stuff with the big names we're throwing around. And there's one coming up this weekend. It is Memorial Day. We want to give a shout out to all the men and women that are in our armed forces that keep us safe and free.
Right.
Never want to forget that. And this weekend, because you're grilling out, just remember to look at the flag and salute it, and pay homage to those men and women that are in our armed forces. With the Indy 500 and all the races in Charlotte.
Yep.
We have the 75th annual Lucas Oil Little 500. Now, if you're not used to this is an indoor midget race. And it looks to me that there's about 40 entries. And they are little midgets on, I believe it's an asphalt track inside. It's not one of the dirt midget tracks, but it's at Anderson Speedway, but it's indoor. And, man, do they put on a little show. And they're doing 500 laps in them little sprints.
Oh,
yeah. Man. It doesn't take as long as you think because it's such a short track, but they put on a show. Ken Schrader's won that race a few times, so that's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, there's quite a few names that we can throw out there that we have talked about before, like the Dakota Armstrongs. There's a couple, and Tyler Rohrig actually won it last year. He is listed on the entry. And there are Cody Swanson. There's another Dalton Armstrong. I believe they are related. Caleb Armstrongs. There's an Armstrong family that's going to try to hit it from all angles and pull away from that win. And I believe there's a cool little trophy you get with that one.
Yeah, it's a neat show. Always is, and to sit there and watch some cars go around there for 500 laps, it takes a while. It doesn't take as long, but the thing is, it's a neat show. I mean, they get to beating and banging, and you never know what might happen.
Rooting and gouging.
Oh, yeah, big time. It's like what they say, fighter pilots in a gymnasium. That's basically what that's like.
Yeah.
Those knuckleheads get after it. I mean, get after it hard. The midget racers are tough, man. That's something we'll have to discuss at a later time about midget sprint cars, how many drivers are getting hurt in them.
Yeah, got to watch that.
They got to figure something out with those cars because a lot of guys are getting hurt.
There's just not a lot of space, a lot of crush space to protect you from somebody else.
Well, when it flips over, taller people they can't raise the cages up, so a lot of people are getting their necks broke and back injuries. That's why what's his name ain't in the 48 Cup car.
Yeah, he's supposed to make his return.
Not Charlotte. He's not listed. Now, he may be in the car, but they got Josh Berry listed as the driver.
Right.
This weekend, so.
And I do want to add something that I forgot about June 2nd with the events that are going on at Five Flags. The kids' bike races that night, too.
Yeah,
so parents, get ready and get your kids ready, get their bikes ready, make sure they have helmets. I would suggest maybe some decent covering shoes and maybe some gloves to go along with it. But they'll, get your kids out there and get them in that bike race. And you want to talk about kids having fun.
They're having a blast. That is a long way around Five Flags on a bicycle.
I've done it when I was a teenager. Believe me, about halfway down the back says you just sit down and go, screw this. I'm just cruise around there.
Yeah. The younger groups will do from turn 4 to the start-finish line, right. And the older age groups will start, and they'll go around one complete lap. And, some of those guys aren't really huffing that bad because they're always on their bike, and others are struggling. But all in all, they'll get a trophy, they get ice cream, and they have a blast. Every kid that finishes that race has a smile on their face.
Oh, yeah.
And that's important.
Yep, I did it. It was fun. And all these other kids, my grandkids did it. They had a blast. So, yeah, we need to keep that tradition. I know we hadn't done it in a little while since COVID, but I'm glad to see it back.
Yep. And I do want to give a shout out to one of our special guests that's been on 3 times, the West Virginia boy.
Yep.
Up there with secure testing systems on the side of that 32 car, the Ford Mustang. Will be at Charlotte in the Arca Menards Series race Friday night. So Christian Rose, with Christian Rose Racing and AM Racing and that Ford Mustang, good luck up there, and we'll be rooting for you, and hopefully we'll have you back on after, your first win, if not sooner than that. But good luck up there, Christian, and we'll be pulling for you.
Yeah, good luck to him and Bubba Pollard and all the racing that's going on this weekend, and get out and support your local short track. Go to the dirt, go to the asphalt, it doesn't matter. Get your butt out and support some short track racing because they need you.
Speaking of a track we need to support, I have spoken with Jason Smith over in Mobile. They haven't made an announcement about what the situation is going to be like there, but expect something from them very soon. We should hear something.
I hope so, because, if they'll go back to Hoosier Tires, and I'll go over and race some, but I can't go over there and justify spending $700 on 4 different tires that I can't run anymore, so... Yeah, I'm glad to see it get moved. And nothing against Gina whatsoever. It breaks my heart that she had to leave, but I understand the financial situation was getting hard on her.
2 rainouts in a row, that does not help at all.
Well, and you can't, that place floods and makes it messy, and, it's just hurting her. So I just, I feel bad, and I hate that she put the effort in, but, maybe she can stick around and help.
Well, we look forward to that. For sure, because that's right down the road, and we can add another one to the mix that we've kind of touched on, but it's been inconsistent, but we'd like to see a little bit more consistent. They will help us out, to get the word and help them as well. But Jim, good luck getting that car a little bit more dialed in and getting the bugs straightened out. Sounds like you got it already, but June 2nd, you'll be ready to go and get that first feature win this year.
I hope so. We're going to try awful hard. When you said earlier about Memorial Day, there's one thing I'm going to add to that. This is a solemn weekend to remember the people who have fought and died for our country.
Right.
The people, the Sands of Iwo Jima, the ones that went on the beach at Normandy, all the people we lost at Pearl Harbor, in Vietnam and Korea,
right.
World War I, and the deserts out there in the Middle East. We lost a lot of young men and women that are mangled in that. But this is to remember them who have fought and gave the ultimate sacrifice for this great nation, in which allows us to race
Right.
And that's why you'll never see a race fan taking a knee or that butt kicking will happen. I'm telling you. But we at Short Track Guys Podcast support our military. My race car used to have everything on the hood. I've got to get back on there, but I enjoy that, and I enjoyed racing for the AMVETs because I raced for a lot of veterans. But this weekend is mainly just please remember in your thoughts and prayers the men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice,
Right.
who died on those beaches, who died during the war, who ran in front and threw themselves on a hand grenade, or their guys were pinned down. They jumped up and took off running to take the fire away from his men so they could do the job. I mean, I listen to a lot of World War II podcasts, and you hear some of those old guys tell those stories, and it gives you chills.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers and memorize, and put in your thoughts of the memories of all that happened. And that's why we are doing what we do today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. We love our military and our police and our EMTs. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Do want to give a shout and thanks McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia, Mobile, Alabama, for helping us and supporting us. We appreciate that, and all of our listeners, we do appreciate that, and we love throwing the information out there and hope you get out of it what we put into it. So thanks again for listening and being a supportive group. We appreciate it. And guys, we do it 1, 2, 3, eh?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Be strong, America.
We will talk to you next week.